The pillows are fluff thanks to Miss Emily. The couch is wide enough, join the family. It's all love while we laugh at first criminalities. Hey, 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 welcome to the Sofa Squad. Sipping from the cup at hey, hey, hey. Come laugh with the Sofa Squad. Can't roll my damn eyes hard enough. Oh, please, the puppies need me. Ooh, oh, please, my body is rejecting none of that fancy credential stuff. I'm just here for the cringe binge. Hey, 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 welcome to the Sofa Squad. Sipping from the cup and hey, hey, hey. Come laugh with the Sofa Squad. Can't roll my damn eyes hard enough. Oh please, the puppies need me. Oh please, my body is rejecting none of that fancy credentialed stuff. I'm just here for the cringe binge. Hey, 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 welcome to the Sofa Squad. Sipping from the cup that hey, hey, hey. Come laugh with the Sofa Squad. Can't roll my damn eyes hard enough.
Hello, Sofa Squad. Hello, everybody. Hello, Dr. Barry. How's it going?
So glad to be here. So glad to be back.
I'm glad to have you here, and I'm glad you're back. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come hang on the sofa. And thank you, mods, for being here. Pardon me. And thank you, Squad. And thank you, Psych Nerds, for being here. So real quick before we even get started, first things first, we have a lot of overlap here. So many of you know Dr. Barry, but if you don't, her link is down in the description below. Be sure and check her channel out. She comes and hangs out and gives us lots of insight, and good conversation and good Sofa Squadness and all that, on all these crazy cases we talk about. Also, you see on the screen there, she put her content warning up there. So this is, pardon me, this is major trigger warning. Now, like she said, we're not going to be looking at the clips. We're not going to see anything like that. But there are going to be parts that we talk about that, I mean, when I did my video today, I started crying again. It's so hard to watch and see. So all that being said, there's that. Dr. Barry, do you want to do like a little, like maybe overview of like, this is what this is, or, you know, whatever?
And so this case is about the capital M of Ajike Owens, and she was a mother. She worked really hard to care for herself and her kids. And there was a neighbor. And the name of the Netflix documentary is The Perfect Neighbor, because this neighbor, in her own mind, Susan Lawrence, she thought she was right, but she was terrorizing her community. She was calling the police excessively, any little thing that the children did. So she lived next to an open lot. And the open lot was not owned by the person she rented from. This was just an open lot, and the owner of that lot gave the kids permission to play there. And anytime the kids were out playing, if they got a little loud, she would be out cursing at them, calling them names. And it got to the point where things unfortunately got very unsafe. She tried to claim stand your ground, and she got the police, because I think on the day she was arrested, or around the time of her arrest, she Googled stand your ground, because the entire community, it took a few days, it took some time for her to get arrested, and the community really came behind AJ and the kids to move forward with this. I will also mention that how the crime happened is earlier in the day, one of Ajike's kids left his tablet kind of over in that lot, like over near her house, and he just went to get it. And I think so the allegation is that she threw a pair of roller skates at him. I don't believe the roller skates hit him, but still, like, that's scary for a kid, and that she was kind of threatening them with a big, umbrella. And so he ran home to get his older brother. His older brother came back and said, I'm coming back with my mom. Uh, there were allegations. I forget if it was that day or another day, but this Susan had a habit of calling, especially Black children, calling them the N word. And so Ajike was probably understandably upset. And she goes over and she's knocking on this woman's door because this woman has her son's tablet. And I believe Susan calls the police. And then within a few minutes, she shoots through her dead-bolted door. And she could have hit the child because Ajike's standing there with her oldest son. Those two are the ones standing there. And then in the documentary, you see the aftermath of everything. I was surprised. I was not expecting to see her lying on the ground. Like, it was it showed more than I thought it was going to show. And I didn't realize at the time that she was shot, the police told one of the children, we're taking your mom to the hospital. She's going to be okay. And I'm watching this knowing that's not how, like, she's not going to be okay. And in the series, you see the father of the children get there and the police tell him first. And he just gets like the emotion. Like, I was just bawling. Like, this is the point where I am just bawling because you're seeing, I had followed the case. So I watched this case. I covered the case over on my channel. If you go over to my channel, I have, in my description, I have the links to my prior videos linked because I did play some of the clips and some of the court information, because Susan had the nerve to claim self-defense and that she was in fear for her life. And during her interrogation, she tries to be like, that Ajike was threatening to unalive her. And I don't believe any of that was true. Now, I think she might have said, if you don't give me my damn kid's iPad back, they were going to have a problem. Like, she might have, but I don't believe that she was threatening her at all. I just don't. And so
that was an excellent overview of this horrifyingly tragic case. And I'm just going to kind of touch on a few things that you talked about with the case. Like, yeah, that's like the layout of it. So one thing also with this that was so fascinating and interesting was, and that made it all the more heartbreaking. And I kind of look at it in two different ways. First of all, a lot of us on YouTube and stuff like that, we're used to seeing body cam footage, stuff like that. But there's a large part of people who they're just seeing like whatever Netflix puts out in true crime and this, that, and the other. So I might say the director's name wrong. So correct me if I'm saying it wrong. Gita Ghanbar.
I'm bad with names. You can.
I think it's Gita Ghanbar. She's the director. She was loosely related to Ajike.
Oh, wow.
And like she's like the sister-in-law or something like that. And she was already an award-winning like type filmmaker. So she basically made the decision, and I thought that this is from a storytelling format so beautiful of a choice because it did just this. She said that she went, and when she realized there was all this footage and all this stuff, and she was like, I wanted to show the story instead of pivoting almost like this racial, here's this like neighborhood that's, all these problems, this community of people who were getting a lot. This is, Susan's the outlier. She was like, here's this community where all these people are getting along and playing. And I was talking about that. And I was like, when I watched it, that was my first thought was, this is such that these kids are playing with neighbors and the neighbors are all apart and the kids are all running out. I was like, this looks like a quintessential fun place as a child to grow up. And then you have this neighbor who is like the neighborhood Karen, but a monster. And so I thought it was so interesting. Then when I read the thing about the director, where I was like, wow, she really was able to capture the heart of this to make them. And she said, instead of demonizing, I wanted to humanize everybody and make it real and follow you. And you see it as it plays out. Well, as Dr. Berry said, Okay, that's great. Fine. Dandy, love that choice. There were some things that I was not mentally prepared for to see that, and you already know if I've seen all this stuff. This is me
Because
crying.
so so normally the body cam footage is blurred. You don't see
Mm-hmm.
you don't see the victim, or like sometimes in court it might not, but like they try sometimes court TV or Law and Crime, they will pan away at certain moments. And so I was not expecting to see like that. Seeing there were a few moments that were it just brought up a lot of emotion. I do want to mention, so Greta, she is a close family friend of like, so I think she's like the I think her sister-in-law was Ajike's best friend or something. Like they're like, but and sometimes in some, especially so like my best friend, I call her my sister, but I tell my kid like she's like your play auntie. She's not your real aunt is Aunt Brandy. Like, so Aunt Kalisha is your like that's mommy's best friend, but we call her aunt. So
Mm-hmm.
so my kid we think of her like family, but she's not, directly related. And so I think it's a situation like that where she was very close, because they recorded when the family got the call that she was arrested. Because that took time, because she was not immediately arrested that day. Um, and the racial elements were kept out of the trial, because I think that would have prejudiced the jury so much that they might have just said guilty just in hearing her try to explain, oh yeah, I use the N-word. Doesn't that just mean anybody that's unlawful? And I was just like, lady, really? Seriously? How did you say that with a straight face? And so there are a lot of people. And so I really want, because it can bring up a lot of racial trauma, especially for people that might be a fear. I have an 8-year-old son. When he plays outside, I'm always within earshot.
Mm-hmm.
And we live in we actually live in a pretty diverse community, but my neighbors, because a neighbor just today, maybe within the last hour, somebody posted a picture of some little kid, because some little kid is riding his e-bike in the middle of the road and almost got hit. So somebody's just like, hey, like, make sure if this is your kid, like this isn't safe. So but I don't want my kid in the group like in the group Facebook page where somebody is saying my kid did no. So when my kid is outside, I'm within earshot. I think I waited until he was like 5 years old, because we have a big circle where when he goes around the circle, he's out of my eyesight. It took a lot for me to let him go around that circle, because there might be like 20 houses or so. Like there are a bunch, because it takes a good like few minutes, like 5 minutes for him to go all the way around the circle. Because sometimes there can be this anxiety as a mom, especially a mom raising, a African American boy. Like sometimes because sometimes people will automatically view people as more aggressive, and so I'm very mindful of those things. Now, would Susan have done this if it was a different neighbor? Because it looked like there were like everybody played together. All the kids, they're black, white, Hispanic, like everybody's having a good time. Everybody's playing together. She's the one causing all of the problems, and she just won't admit it. And that was infuriating to see. And then trying to blame her trauma. So that was the part that made me extremely mad. She's like, they're triggering me and not realizing like how she's upsetting this entire community. And so
Amazing points you just brought up there, and I want to kind of talk about a couple of them right out the rip. So one thing, if you're unfamiliar with this, whatever, there's a couple of different interrogations on YouTube of them interrogating her. One is like, let's call it the initial, and then the second one is where she ends up getting arrested finally, right?
Yeah.
So what Dr. Berry's talking about is in the first one, and probably in both of them, I can't remember which one. she tries to explain away her behavior on multiple levels. And so one of those is the self-defense. The other, and I love this part when they confront her about, have you ever said the N word? And she kind of like, does whatever, but then they have this proof of it. And it's like, she's sitting here doing these horrifying racial slurs to children, like just little kids. And she tries to explain this away. And obviously there's like no excuse for this. And it was so gratifying to see the tone change when she tried to sliver her way back from that in the interview, because I think this is the one where she gets arrested. And so they're more aggressive with her. They finally got the evidence and whatnot to be like, bam, here we go. And so I can see when you said, I didn't know that they left that out of the trial, because it was
the racial element did not, because there was enough, just a person shot through a door without knowing who was on the other side. Is that your ground? Period. Yeah. No matter who's on the other side. And because it could have been a child. It could have been.
It almost was.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing too. So at the end of the day too, when the cops, and let's talk about this for a second. I might jump around a little bit because I'm so excited about this. So just work with me here and you can reel me in if need be. Okay. So one of the things that was going on is she was trying to make it out like all these events were taking place in this little amount of time from when 911 was called of Ajike. Is it Ajike? Is that how you say her name? Ajike?
And you could say AJ or
I call her AJ in the thing because that's what I just got it stuck in my head. Yeah. But from when she went to start banging on the door, and what's her name? Susan calls 911. There's a couple of 911 calls. Well, once the cops in the second interview have the evidence of this is how 911 works when you call, and this is what the phone does. So bam, you called right here, but then you said all these things took place. But the next time this happens is 2 minutes later. So somehow we went from here to way up here and somebody's dead in 2 minutes. So what's going? And there is no excuse. And somebody said it earlier, and I think this is just so true. She wanted to kill somebody. She just needed the excuse. She just was like looking for that trigger moment, because at the end of the day, she had a metal door. It was deadlocked. She was behind the thing. She had time to call 911. And I was comparing it like this. Let's pretend none of this had ever happened in the past, all the previous phone calls. Something went down, and let's say AJ came over there with a gun herself and started shooting through the door, and then Susan's forced to grab her gun and shoot. She might have a case there of being like, look, somebody's shooting through my door. I grabbed my gun and shot. I was trying to whatever. But this is like absolutely not that. This is also leading up to multiple. I mean, this woman was calling the cops on kids just
multiple times a week.
And I was like, can you imagine how much time you have to have in your personal life to deal with to want to willingly deal with the police over that kind of stuff? And that's where I was like, is there some mental thing going on here with somebody who's that fixated besides hatred?
She was incredibly entitled. And I think something happened where she was living in an area where she maybe didn't want to live. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like for her age, so my mom lives in a 55 and up community, and the children can't live for like, I think more than 6 months, or I don't know, like you don't see kids running around her neighbor. And my mom, she wouldn't be upset to live next door to kids. She wouldn't be upset by it. But like, if you are that upset by children, you need to live in a retirement community, you know? I don't know if something happened financially, and if because she seemed vindictive and bitter. And I think she was trying to get AJ arrested, because she made a claim that AJ threw the no trespassing sign at her. And I think from that moment, when like AJ had the nerve to throw her sign and the police didn't do anything, because I think her whole thing was the police never did anything about it. She's calling, making all of these complaints. Now, granted, her complaints are excessive, and they're not rooted in any type, like these kids are just being kids. And the officers are telling them, we would rather these kids were outside playing football, outside playing soccer, like these kids. And now in my neighborhood, we do have, there's a rowdy house. And what I mean by the rowdy house is these kids, they left a bike across the street in our neighbor's yard for like a week, or like, and he doesn't have kids, like, but those kids' bike just sat in his yard. It was at least it was days. It was for days.
He's like, anybody want this bike?
It just
Where
sat.
did the kid go?
Like, and their house is like 4 or 5 houses down. Like, I knew exactly which house the kids belonged to. But like, kids make noise. So we have a neighbor that they chose a house that's right next to a park. And so I used to take my kid when he was a baby, like, and he'd be up early in the morning. We would be out of the park at 8 a.m. and he's like playing, because he's playing. But you chose the house next to the park. You can't like now, and people are out at the park at night, after quiet hours or something. That's different. But she seemed to be unreasonable. She said that she was triggered by noise, which could be a thing. So in one of my videos, I talked about misophonia, because there are some people that are triggered by noise. But that's where I put it on the individual. You wear noise canceling headphones. You insulate your house so that you're more protected from sound. You play, so if the kids are outside, like, you do what you can do. You don't expect children to be like quiet all the time. And somebody asked, what state was this in? This was in Florida, if nobody answered it yet. And yeah.
And that's one thing that in my video today, I was like trying to look at all angles.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, a lot of the stuff that you said there, where I was like, now in one of her interviews, she said that she was getting ready. I'd almost closed on some property in this. I feel like she was maybe putting a trailer on it or something. But because I was like, if you don't, who knows what took place, but like you said, something took place where she's living somewhere she doesn't really want to be.
Yeah.
And then she doesn't have kids. This is a very family centric neighborhood where everyone knows each other's and all this type of stuff. And then I was looking at myself too, because I don't have kids, and I'm like, okay, I understand wanting quiet. I get that. But I'm also like, okay, I'm thinking of all this. And like when I was recording today, a car would go, I have to stop and be like, okay, people, hold on while, this car goes by. But I'm not going to go out in the street and be like, everybody stop. I'm recording. Y'all need to like go this way, whatever. And so that's the part where I was like, imagine how different it might have been. Let's pretend like on a Tuesday night, the kids are out there at 11 o'clock. What if she went to the parents and said, hey, y'all, I get their kids. Can we meet in the middle somewhere? And maybe like during these hours, we do blank, and tried to be normal and nice about it. And maybe they would have been more like, you know what? Yeah, kids, maybe come in a little early on this day or whatever. But that's not how it went. And then she became the neighborhood Karen. And also, how kids are going to be kids. So once she was taunting them, it's like they're going to want to kind of be sassy or this or that. It just created this thing. And then especially if she's sitting here yelling all this horrifying stuff, throwing stuff at them. She had private property signs out. It's not even her property.
In the documentary, they play, I guess she's fallen asleep, but she's called the cops early, or something's happened. Oh, I think like a truck. Her truck rammed into a gate. Do you remember that part?
That sounds familiar. Yeah.
So she was on some private property or something, and the gate ended up being locked. And instead of waiting for it to be unlocked, she like rammed the gate with her truck and caused damage. So the guy called the police. They figured out it was her in her house. They go and they knock on the door. She's like, we're the police. And she's like, she wasn't a very rational, like she had some issues. And during the trial, she managed, I think she tried to portray like she's this like older grandma, poor me kind of thing. She didn't do, I don't think she wore like any weird like headphones or anything like that. But the jury did not buy it, and I'm glad that AJ got some type of justice. Because so I didn't cover the case until the verdict, because these cases can be very tricky. Whereas like I don't want to talk about it and then she get off, and then so I waited to cover it until the verdict was in. And then also her sentencing, where she tried to portray like, oh, I've had all this trauma. Because even with the officers, she tried to talk about, an essay, because I think she's trying to say why she's afraid, like why she didn't want the officers to like touch her or to be around her. But I think she was just mad and she just didn't want to be arrested. Because you remember that part where she like refused to move? They're like, "Ma'am, we're gonna arrest you." "No, you're not." Like, "I'm not going. I'm not.
That
I'm
was so telling.
I'm gonna die." Like she was like,
I
I'm
can't.
gonna die.
I can't just. I was cringing so hard that I was like, after all this, because I'm thinking this, I'm like, honey, you're the one who has the cops over twice a day. You're in the mothership now. Enjoy it. You got what you wanted. You can live with cops for the rest of your life now. Like you should be just absolutely happy. Now, also, what was it? Now, this part right here,
Mhm.
she better be thanking the cops for this too. So, first of all, when they take her in that night, they question her, but they don't arrest her. They're doing the
Mhm.
investigation. They agree to have somebody go to her house with her because it's not, which, she can't stay there that night.
Yeah.
So, but basically, they escort her there.
She should never go back to that community, because that community was pissed.
Oh,
That community, like, no, you can't,
mm-mm.
like, no, you don't, you have to go live somewhere else. You
Yeah.
can't go back.
Well, and she would go there escorted with cops to get her stuff at various times. And I was like this. I was like, I would have given whoever was there with her helping her the keys and been like, go with cops. I'm never showing my face there again. And she's lucky the cops went with her, because the vibe that I got, and kind of side note here,
Mhm.
also the way that the director chose to tell the story through
Mhm.
the police body cam footage made you kind of view it from the police perspective.
Yeah.
And you're seeing like how it is where you're showing up on a scene and this neighbor's saying this, but then you're talking to everyone in the neighborhood and you can kind of see like, okay, it'd be one thing if just one person said this, but everyone in the neighborhood has the same story about this woman. And then obviously you come out there enough, the deal, oh, here we go for Susan again. But you were able to see what she was doing and the frustration of the neighbors and the kids and all this. And then just the waste of police resources. Like you just saw it all come. I'm like, this woman is wasting so much money having these cops come out because a kid looked at her wrong or was on her pretend property. And it's just, I was like, I bet these cops are absolutely just like, what?
And I was a little frustrated because they were kind of saying, okay, because I think the police just wanted to stop coming out. And so I
Yeah.
think the police just wanted, hey, just keep the kids in, just like don't let the kids go over there. Like just don't have them over there. But the fact that she would set her alarm to her car, like make her car make a whole bunch of noise when the kids weren't even around it. Um
Yeah.
it didn't come out as much during the docuseries, but she had a history of recording the children, I think with her phone and with her Ring doorbell as or like with her like security system as well. And so like it was so heartbreaking and just senseless. Um and it seemed like the family was behind the story being told this way, because there were a lot of people, like, because it was so triggering. Um, because I've heard some people talk about, like, they weren't prepared for it to just be as emotional as it was, because we didn't even get to the hardest part, and that's when the boys find out, and so that night the father pulls his 2 sons over to tell them that their mother's deceased, and it's so the one that left the iPad, that child, now he is, like, regretting, I shouldn't have left, I should have just left the iPad there." The one that went to go get his mom, he's thinking, "I shouldn't have went to go get my mom," when actually those little boys did nothing wrong. Susan's the one that did a crime, and, I loved in the documentary at the end, they play, like, this gospel song and just talk about how AJ was a mama bear, and she was protecting her sons, and she was doing exactly what like, she wouldn't have wanted anything bad to happen to her kids.
Mhm.
And so, because it would be, um it's almost like the kid that begs his parents to go out for ice cream, and then they get in a car accident and something bad happens on the way to get ice cream. It can make it hard for that child to ever eat. Like, so it's like, I'm never gonna eat ice cream ever again. Like, sometimes our brains can connect where it's like, it they didn't do anything. There's nothing wrong with a little kid wanting ice cream. There's nothing wrong with, hey, if a neighbor takes your iPad without your permission, and they could have called the police. So I wish they had, but they were probably worried that she would have turned it on them, because you threw something at my child. You have my child's property. You've shown that you are completely irrational and just a whole hot mess.
Couple of things on that too. So when it happens and you see the boy, so it shows this thing, and you see Ring Camera 2 where he goes to the neighbors and he's like, they shot my mama, they shot my mama. Okay, so when the cop gets there and they're sorting everything out, they get the boy and they're like, are you hurt, are you hurt? And he says, I'm not hurt, but my heart is broken. Y'all, oh it gives me goosebumps right now, bone chill. I was like, oh my God. And the part for me is, so then yes, you see her on the ground. It's not blurred out, and you're like, and it's so real, because I'm like, all these thoughts are going through your mind of like, wait, the kids can see their mom like that, and then it's this and that, and then you're like, what? They're going to tell them, right, she died. It's all like just hitting you, but you're living. I mean, but this was somebody's real life, their reality. It's like even more so as their mother. And what you said, Dr. Berry, about the kids mentioning how they felt like, if I hadn't get the iPad or whatever. And I'm like, I pray that those boys over time, or now already, or whatever, will come to the realization that you're talking about, of being like, this wasn't a us thing. This was a Susan thing. We didn't do, there was nothing wrong with, because like you said, one of the videos they show Ajike in an interaction with the cops, and it's the whole thing about the sign throwing thing. And the vibe that I got from Ajike was this, almost like I've been at work all day long and I'm coming home and I am dealing with this BS, and I can do it on a normal basis, but today was not the day. That was the vibe. And I was like, girl, I get it. Like, more power to that whole neighborhood for putting up with that. And this could have been this thing too, where I'm like, and I was like, imagine that your kid comes over, and this isn't out of the blue. This is with a historically bad situation, a neighbor. Mom, so-and-so who's done all this stuff hit me with rollerblades and has my thing over there. What do you think you're going to do? Of course, you're going to believe your child, because this is already a known thing that this person does this. And so it's like, if it was like, pardon me, if it was like the not today, of course she's going to go over there, especially with her having the iPad. And then the whole thing, if you hit my kid with something, it's but in hindsight, you see it boiling up to this point of being like, where was this going to end? And even this, I don't think anyone's ever expecting, oh, the neighbor's going to shoot me through the door. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I think people still don't think that people are bad in that way. I don't know how to say it, but you're just not expecting it. And so I'm kind of like speechless now that I've like revisited that whole moment in my mind.
I think everything was so emotional, so I did not hear that part. Like, that's just how that part where they're showing the kids and the police are talking to them. I didn't even, because I'm when I'm watching, so sometimes I'm watching Netflix on my phone, and I have an earpiece in, and my kid and my husband are playing like Minecraft or Mario Kart or something, and I'm over here bawling. Like, I am just like, and they're playing like, it happens. She's probably just watching.
This is another Tuesday night.
But I am bawling because I knew, and the boys testified, and there were multiple neighborhood kids that testified about how she was with them, because a big part of the state's theory was that she was just angry. This wasn't self-defense. She was just mad, and she had it, and she did not care, because that's a part of the charge. Like, there's this reckless, indifference for life. Like, she just did not care. And that's where, no matter what's going on, so there have been neighbors that, like, I've disagreed with, but I've never seen them as less than human. Does that make sense? And um, we we might not agree, but can we at least treat each other with mutual respect?
Hmm.
And we at least still see each other as people. It's almost like Susan didn't view them. She viewed those children as like feral cat, like animal. Like she didn't view them as she liked cats, so probably not cats. Like she probably viewed them as like something less than,
Hmm.
and that she's up
100%.
on this pedestal. And no, you're not. Like these kids, because I still go back to the police even being like, I'm just glad these kids aren't out, breaking the law. Like these kids, they're just playing. They're just being kids. Let them be. And she wouldn't.
Yeah, she just kind of, and somebody said in the chat room, pest. Yeah, Trex of Trish said pest. She really did. She looked at them as just, Lord only knows the things that she said when she went behind her door after these confrontations. I mean, if this was like what she was saying publicly to these kids and stuff, and that's why watching her and how fixated she was, I was like, I feel like she sits behind there and looks out the windows. This was entertainment for her too, I think. Like
Yeah.
doing the whole thing with the truck and all the things, because she could have done certain things to alleviate it and also just take the temperature. And I think either you, Dr. Barry, or others, and have mentioned this. And I'm like this. I'm like, if it's that noisy, like get some earplugs, whatever. The kids aren't out 24 hours a day, right? So if they're going to be playing in the field and doing this, that, and the other, well, get some earplugs, turn your TV up, do something during that time. Does it suck to maybe have to do that? Well, sure. But guess what? Look where you're in an apartment or duplex kind of living situation. It is what it is. It's like you have to exist with other people in this. And if you don't like that, well, then do all you can to change that situation. And maybe she didn't want to, or maybe she couldn't. I don't know.
And
I
she
think,
did, and she did everything to make it worse. So
yeah.
when I was in school, I had a teacher. It was middle school. She hated tapping. It would drive her up a wall. Tapping would drive her up a wall. So in class, we would all get together because if we all do it at the same time, she can't do anything. So we would all start tapping at the same time. Stop that tapping. Like she would just get so upset. And it was just like, and so looking back, like I feel bad about it, but it's like it's like if kids know that something agitates you, because so did those kids sometimes maybe play a little extra loud, maybe around, but she was the adult that should have managed things better.
Yeah.
I expect kids to try to be a little mischievous. Kids are gonna say and do things. I loved that the kids were so honest. Like they were like, "Yeah, I did. I did say that to her. Yeah, we did. We did do that. But she called us a B. She called us
Yeah.
these names. Like it's like she's an adult over here saying and doing those things." And so
And you bring up a good point too, because I can remember doing stuff in school
yeah.
too, where when you're younger and you see an adult get upset, it's kind of entertaining to a kid because it's funny. And it's like this reaction. I mean, I can remember we used to make our band teacher and he would do this thing, bless his heart. He played clarinet his whole life. So he had that clarinet lip.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? And it was so funny to us when he got mad because he would turn red and we would just do whatever we could. And looking back now, I'm like, honey, that would have been my 13th reason. But so you know that they were being kids and doing that same kind of stuff too. But like you said, she's the adult. And it's just like this. And so there's a level, and somebody said anger is addictive, or maybe you just said it, or somebody said in the chat room. Yeah, or whatever the chemicals it is that releases it or whatever, and I think that's part of it where she probably liked doing it. And then she was creating it. Because just like with the truck, why are you going to sit here and make your alarm go off constantly? Because my thing is this, I don't want to be at home worrying about the cops coming out twice a day, worrying about the car doing this and that. Why would you want to fill your time with that? And maybe this is all that she had to fill her time with. I want to know more about, like, did she work? Like, how did we arrive here?
I thought if it's this case, I thought she like took calls from home or something. Like I think she worked from home or something like that, doing like calls or
Maybe
she was like, it has to be quiet because I'm doing calls on the phone. But I've called, customer service or something and heard kids playing in the background. I'm just like, "Oh, you're having one of the you're working from home, aren't you?" "Yep." We just laugh and we just keep going. As
Yeah.
long as you help me with my problem, I don't care. I don't care what's happening in the background as long as we can get through it. Um, and, yeah, she worked for an insurance company, Dominique. Thank you, Dominique.
Thank you,
She
K. Bush.
she worked for an insurance company from home, and,
So she was festering. She was festering all day long.
there are times when, so my office is down the street from a hospital, and I warn my clients, "Hey, while we're meeting, there might be an ambulance." Like, like, hey, if that's like, while, because it's just I don't this is the building I work in. The hospital is right down the street, and we regularly get ambulances, probably 2 to 3 a day. Like, there are multiple ambulances that end up going by. And, I don't call the police to be like, "Can y'all stop? Can y'all have the ambulances?" Like, I'm doing therapy. Like, everything else needs to be quiet. I work above a dentist office, and they installed, I think they did a new operating, I don't know, they did something because they were drilling for, like, a week or something. They did something downstairs, and it was just like, "Hey," "downstairs is gonna be loud. They're doing some construction. They're probably paying me back for those days I was in here painting, jumping up and down, moving in furniture, making all kinds of noise, because 'cause I'm on the second floor and they're on the first floor." But she was not reasonable, and once again, I hate that she blamed her history of trauma, because to me, trauma can help me understand why something might be upsetting, but it's still my responsibility to heal. But I think she wanted to be the victim. She wanted the world to change for her, and she wouldn't do the smallest thing to adjust for anyone else.
Yeah, she wanted it was almost like she, because in a certain way, it's like I if you're happy in
Mhm.
your lot in life, or if you pretend not to be, but there's like a subconscious thing of like, if I remain stuck here, then I don't have to try, I don't have to change, I don't have to grow. And so I will subconsciously do whatever I can to remain here,
Mhm.
And then somebody said, I think Crafton on the floor, and I hope you're doing well, said the interaction with the police was probably one of her only like real, like, say social interaction type things. I think that was part of it. I think part of it was this was a way that she engaged with, she didn't know how to engage with people. She probably also felt very other than, because everyone, like, literally, to me, I was like, this whole neighborhood is kid centric. Everyone is bonded through their families and kids, and everybody not may be friends, but it's what someone says over at their house now they're running over here. So the parents are coordinating with one another and know each other's stuff in that way. And she's not doing that. Right.
And
You know what I'm saying?
and I see that as, like, the way things used to be. Because, like, our neighbors, everybody is very now, I love it when I see, because sometimes there are some groups, some families that, they know each other and they all play together. Um, I'm not that mom. My kid can't just go into somebody else's house because I'm weird. Like, you can't, like, I'm
You
yeah,
watch true crime.
I'm a therapist specializes in working with kids and teens that have had stuff, and so, like, I'm like, nope, I need to meet the people, I need to see nope, you can't just run to somebody else's house, but I think that's nice to have that type of community where everybody's supporting each other, everybody's, like, they might, because I loved it, one of the dads, they were like, "Who's the one in the red shirt?" Like, what's he has to ask his kid, like, "Who's that one?" And they were able to say it. Um, the documentary also showed the boys' faces clearer, because I think in the videos I had watched, I believe they were blurred out. They blurred out, everybody's faces and everything, and so just to see their pain and to see all of that, it was it was a lot. I do think the family was behind the telling of the story, which was why I didn't mind watching it. And at the end, we'll have to talk about, because I don't know if I'm gonna watch it, but I think it's on Hulu. There's a Murdaugh like 3-part,
It's
like
good. It's
oh,
good.
I'll have to watch it. Ooh, 'cause
It's good.
it it's a dramatization of the Murdaugh story. I'm sure with some creative license, but like I saw the trailer and it looked, and the family was not behind. The family did not want the story to be told that way at all. Yeah, because
Well,
I think Alex lawyers put out a statement that they don't like it or something. I didn't look at the statement.
for me, so I've seen like half of it at this
Okay.
point. Patricia Arquette is amazing. All the actors and actresses are. So seeing them being portrayed in a fictional type setting, but we know that the points that it goes through,
Yeah.
you know, does it paint them all in a good light? I mean, you know, it's one of those things where it's just like there's just a lot of stuff that you're like, oh, so this is how the good old boy system looks behind closed doors, and you know what I'm saying, that type thing. But it definitely, trigger warning, opens up where you're like, you know, mouth on the ground moment of like, oh my gosh. And then I mean, you're seeing the Paul, the victim Paul or whatever. You're seeing how, isn't that his name, Paul Murdaugh? I think it was killed.
Yeah, Paul.
Definitely doesn't paint him in a real good light, just as, you know, his behavior and this kind of stuff. But it was interesting seeing, because obviously I don't know what it was like to live around them and operate around them.
Yeah.
Seeing someone play it out and like, this is probably what it was like a day-to-day basis. Fascinating. And again, the actors and actresses, I was like, oh, this is like good. Like, this is, you rip through it. The only reason I had to stop was because I had to change locations, and I can't get the Hulu app to work on my TV here in the new place, and it's killing me. So
I have to do it through Disney Plus. I don't know if you have Disney. Like, that's how I can't. My Hulu app doesn't work anymore. I have to go through Disney Plus.
okay, I'll try that.
Yeah.
I don't think I have that either, but
No.
I have a whole issue with passwords,
I don't
and
know.
you know, I could have, you know, Matt's always like, he could have been the president if it wasn't for those pesky passwords. I can never, it's just like, it's a thing with me. And so I'm stuck there. So yeah, but yeah, totally. It's really good, but also another difficult watch in similar ways, but also different. This one, the Perfect Neighbor, way more raw, way more real, way more intimate. And I think the intimacy of the Perfect Neighbor is what's so, you feel like you truly are peering in on someone's, you almost feel like at times where I'm not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like when they gathered the huddle to tell the children, I mean, of course you're like, oh my gosh, here we go. But I'm like, I can't believe we're going to be here. Do y'all mind if I'm like here in the corner watching? Oh my gosh.
I liked how the father handled it. Does that make sense? So I hadn't heard much about the father. So I'd heard mostly about Ajike and her mother. I hadn't heard much about the father, and like the way that he, you know, told them there's no perfect, because this is a horrible, because he described it as, this is a bad day. This is a really but I liked him phrasing it as a bad day, meaning this doesn't mean you have to have a bad life. You know what I mean? Like this is a day, and we're gonna get through this together. I thought that was because when he was told, he lost it. Like he got very emotional, and then he got to the place where he was ready to tell the boys, and they tell him, I see always Coco, the way he was holding them, like it was just because sometimes people lie, and I think it was important to tell them, because they would have viewed it, if they had found out 2 days, the next day, or a few days later, I think it was appropriate to tell them then, and then to just be with each other, to not lie to them more, and be, because one of them was like, I want to see my mom. Like they would be like, I want to see her. Like,
When
oh,
can we go?
in the hospital, when can we go? And if you keep lying and lying and lying, and then you tell them thinking, oh, now it's the next day, they got a good night's sleep. No, like this is, so I like the fact that they weren't lied to, and that, and like I said, the word, because like there's no perfect words, but I just, the way he handled it was very powerful. Emily, I'm going to try to look up the age of the kids.
Yeah, and now I thought that that was the grandparents that came because it was like
Yeah.
dark outside. It was nighttime when they came. Um, oh, thank you, K Bush. Can you see that? K Bush says Dr. Barry has the best hair. I
Thank you.
know. I thought it was the grandparents. So I didn't know that that was the father. So now it's like a complete, because he almost had this grandfatherly type thing to me, where the way he took them in like that. And I agree, because I was like, there's never going to be a good time to it is what it is. And like you said, I'm thinking, oh yeah, if they had done anything past that to the level of like false hope,
Yeah.
it's like, of like, okay, well, it'll be okay, or well, let's see tomorrow. The anxiety that would create.
Well, because then it breaks that trust when they finally do tell them the next day, "Yeah, let me just," and because it can be like, "When?" "Yes, so she never made," like, "That's why, but we didn't wanna hurt you." Now their entire world, like, it's not just because I went to bed, I played my video game last night. Because then they're gonna run through everything, and, like, I would have done things different. Like, it robs them of that, and, I've worked with a lot of people that were lied to, and, okay, so somebody's asking, was it AJ's father or the father of the children? So it was my understanding, because I thought when he got there, I thought it was the children's father, but somebody can clarify in the chat. And somebody asked the age of the kids. So the youngest was 3 and the oldest was 12. The 2 that were there was 12 and 9. The 2 oldest were 12 and 9 years old.
Talisha, and I hope I'm saying Talissa, I hope I'm saying your name right. She said that that was a kid's dad. She said the neighborhood was good. I think I saw earlier you said that y'all started the movement to get Susan arrested. So thank you for doing that. That's amazing. And yeah, and again, I think you said it, Dr. Bear. We kind of
Mhm.
touched on this, but I'll say it again.
Yeah.
The neighborhood seemed like times past where you see kids run around and interact and do stuff. It was like the kind of way that when I thought of growing up, of now, granted, I didn't grow up in like I grew up more in the country, but still like you run out during the daytime and then you check back in later and you might, end up at the neighbor's house, whatever, and like, I was like, you don't see this anymore. Like, it's so hard or rare. And
And
so she really captured that, the director, of like through this body cam and showing that. And I'm glad to hear that that's a confirmation from you that the neighborhood was really like this.
and
Thank you, Elaine.
and that can make, because I think kids being able to roam to play freely, especially in a safe, because their neighborhood, because it seemed like it was like a slow road, like, and so it just seemed like the kids were just able to play and have fun, but that helps reduce anxiety and stress in kids when they can. So that's why I worked hard to let my child be out of my sight for those feelings, like, because it's for him to, because it would be my anxiety and not his, because he was just fine riding all the way around. He was just fine. He was safe. We live in a safe neighborhood, like everything. I Of those 20 houses, there are probably at least 10 that have like ring doorbells or something. Like, it would it's fine. But after this, people might be more weary of their neighbors. People might be more, because it seemed like it really crushed that close knit community, and uh, I'm so glad that they fought to make sure that AJ did get some kind of justice, and the jury, like I said, they convicted her. Like, you can't call it self-defense and you're safe in your house. You've already called the police. The police, I think, were on their way, or some, like, you've already done all of those things. And so, yeah.
Yeah, all the stuff that, and again, how many times that week had she called 911? Probably, you know what I'm saying? Over just, and the way that she tried to act. This is what made me, well, one of the things that made me angry. The way that she tried to act, like you said earlier, the victim, and being like, I just thought she was going to do this. I just thought she was going to do this. And blah, 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 da, 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 da. And she's doing the whole thing of like, well, it sucks that she's dead, but you could tell in the interrogation when the cops let it slip, he's like, somebody's dead here.
Mhm.
And then she puts her head down. I'm like, she does not care one bit that she killed this woman, except that it's going to affect her now. Of like, probably her thought process is, what does this mean for me? What does this mean for me? You know, and she did an interview from prison, and
Oh,
she has doubled down on her whole thing. And she's like, well, it does, there is signs that the door was coming, there were wood whatever you call it, splinters from the
yeah,
door. I'm like, honey, you have spent too much time reading over that evidence,
yeah.
cooking up this story. No, absolutely. But and then too, it doesn't matter, because it's like, you shot somebody through the door, period. Like, it's,
And
thank you, Jackie.
and we will never know what her intent was. Her actions were careless and reckless. It could have been a child. And I do think she was trying to send a message to the community, don't F with me. Like, I think that was the message she was trying to send. And, because she didn't seem to have any, like, grief or sadness, that because she kinda, like, dropped her head when she found out that AJ had died, but, like, it wasn't like, I think it was just more like, "Oh, I shouldn't, like, I can't smile and be like, she didn't seem to care.
Yeah.
Like, there was this nonchalantness, and so, yeah.
Now, Jackie, first of all, thanks for your super chat. Jackie says, I noticed that Susan is housed in the Homestead Correctional Facility for Women that Donna Adelson hopes to be sent to. It looks light years more comfortable than Lowell Prison. Imagine if Donna, if we were like, they're like, we're going to make you two roommates. That would be very just for the both of them.
But they
Right. It's like we can sit here like, hey, we know the perfect icing on the cake for you two. You, Donna, you want to go down there? Sure. You get to be with Susan. You know, she should, you know, she all day long, that's all she does. Well, she probably torments her roommate, because she's like, why are you loud? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Because she seems to me the type. So pretend that it wasn't the kid situation in the neighborhood. Pretend that even if it was like, everyone was like, hey, Susan, we understand the kids are loud. We're going to bring them in at this time, and we're going to all meet in the middle. She would then find something else to complain about. It would be something the kids were the vessel and an easy low hanging fruit. When kids are loud, kids are boisterous, that's easy right there. But if that wasn't the case, say it was a 55 plus community like we're talking about, she would be the first one out there with a little pad talking about this 405, you know, this street, their grass is 1 inch taller than it says in the HOA. It's triggering me. I used to have to walk through a lawn when I was growing up, and I can't handle it. Like, all the things. It's just who she was, right? It's just, she's who she was. So this was, and also, so let's talk about this for a second. I think that now what you're going to see, because Netflix is a money-making thing, and they're going to be like, ooh, we really hit gold. Like, this is very fresh to a lot of people to see body cam footage and told this way. I think you're going to start seeing them try and pick up stuff like this, or people mimic it.
But I think what made this case unique is that Susan had called the police like some ridiculous amount of times. Do you know, they had hours. I mean, they had so much body cam footage.
Talissa says Netflix won't give money to the family. Wow.
So I haven't heard that be confirmed.
By so many times, Laos is the largest women's prison in the USA. I didn't know that either. Yeah, one of the things that you just said, Dr. Barry, is yes, this is very unique because of all the footage they had. Not many cases you can live through the eyes of the body cam footage, because think of a lot of the documentaries where it's like, there just isn't that, because they're figuring out who did it and who did this. This was more like again, one of the whys, very similar to the case that we're watching of Dustin Duran, of we know he did it. He said he did it. It's the why did he do it? You know what I mean? And so it kind of creates a different situation. And who knows, maybe, because let me tell you what, the body cam stuff, even if it's not like volatile, like this was very specific, but just random body cam footage channels that you find on YouTube of watching stuff happen. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
It's just like, I always say this when I'm watching stuff. I'm like, if you could just put a camera out on like, New York Fifth Avenue and just let us watch it all day and just commentary on people, fascinating. Just watch peopling. Now, obviously, when you're sitting here watching people and maybe arguably their worst time in life of getting arrested, or especially this, their mother's murdered and all this, that's a whole different level. But just in general, the voyeuristic aspect, I guess, of just watching life from afar and being able to see how people live, I think people are very interested in that. And it's kind of like what we do with social media in general anyways.
Yeah. Wow.
Alice says, did you guys watch the trial? I watched all of it, and there was some interesting information that didn't come in during trial. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the gated truck stuff. Yeah. They talked about, and I remember that now. They talked a little bit about that in the docuseries, but not in depth or whatever. That's why, and maybe we'll segue into this real quick.
Yeah.
So I've been streaming the Dustin Duran trial on this channel in the morning. Well, today was just the morning. So I've been told, and y'all can confirm, they are not having trial tomorrow. They had to basically put it off till Thursday. So I'm thinking about, and just let me know what you think. And I mean, I might put something up, but it's kind of late, of streaming like opening statements of Susan's trial instead of doing that tomorrow morning. Maybe do like a morning session and stream some of the trial of Susan to see, like, I'm curious to see what the defense fully says in an opening statement format, to see what the prosecution says in an opening statement format. So if that's something that people want to do instead of that, I can do that in the like for a morning session.
And you may take a look if you want to get a little mad. I don't know, but her statement was ridiculous. Was absolutely.
And are you saying it's sentencing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, maybe we'll start with a couple of things that, because I'm looking at my other screen here where it's like Susan's, 911 call played in court. Defense makes opening statement. And then the video that they showed in the thing, of course, of, the argument, prison, like, gets sentenced to prison, the whole 9 yards. So yeah, we'll do that since they're not going to play it. Because that would be, there's stuff I mean, and I don't even remember this case at all. Like when this came out, I was like, I don't remember at all, because it's not that old of a, like, say, case and trial. It's like 2023, right? So I mean, it's 2025.
So she was found guilty of manslaughter and sentenced to up to 30 years in prison. But for her age, that's probably a life. She'll probably not make it out of prison.
In that mouth too, because let me tell you what, if she hasn't learned to whatever, again, look at how she's created this in her life. She was living in a neighborhood where she's talking about, number one, calling these kids racial stuff, all this type stuff. Then number two, all the noise, all the loudness. So it's like, you want to live in a quiet place around people that look just like you, but now you're going to prison. It's noisy 24 hours a day and a diverse population. Have fun with that. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, again, that subconscious creating the misery you claim you don't want to live in. Tanika, what's up? How's it going? Y'all, Tanika's going to be coming on the channel here soon, probably in a couple of weeks, to give us the rundown on Miss Sarah Boone.
Yes.
I can't wait for that. Let me tell you what, Tanika emailed me. I was like, yes, I want to try on a dog. So excited.
I think she'll have baby number 2.
Yes, that is so exciting.
So excited.
Congratulations. That's so amazing.
Yes.
Major good times. So y'all, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and wrap up everything. Dr. Barry has a life to get back to. I've got a sofa and a dog to get back to. I'm gonna go just zone out on TikTok after this.
So there's a joke going around TikTok, and it's like, so life is already hard, but imagine also having children. when I'm when I'm having a bad day, I remember some people also do this, but also have kids. I've that's
Literally.
I've seen that sound at least twice on my TikTok. I absolutely love collaborating. Like, I'm glad that we were able to chat about this. My husband does not watch true crime. He does not watch shows like this, and so I'm not able to talk to him about it. And so to answer the Sofa Squad's questions and to collaborate with my community as well, like I love it when we get to hang out like this. And so
Yeah, I do too. It's a lot of fun. I really appreciate you coming and doing that. And I appreciate both communities coming together. Everybody's so nice and friendly and all the mods making it possible. It's just such a great time to always have you over here and hang out with the squad and the squad and the psych nerds. And so, yeah, we'll do, you'll be soon be getting a DM from me. Have you watched this? We have to talk.
Wait a minute, because the case that you're covering now, that father that took his kids after unaliving the mother, because I don't know if you've watched part 2, because I don't. Did you cover the pediatrician, or like the ER doctor? Did you hear that part? Yeah.
No, I only did morning.
Okay. So part this then in the evening. Okay, so trigger warnings for this. So the 3-year-old child told the ER doctor that her ear hurt because daddy hurt mommy and me. Yeah.
Oh my. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like that was in part 2. They got into like some weapon. I tuned out after the weapon stuff, but I was surprised to see the pediatrician. He's trying to claim that he's a Marine veteran and that this was his training. His dad tried to support him so much, and we'll see what the jury thinks. But like it was that case. Like we might have to talk about that one once.
100%. Because there's some similarities in the whole thing of it's this right here, and it's this over here, and with Susan case of her whole stand your ground thing, and this guy's like defense of others defense.
Defense of others.
Yeah, and an interesting defense, because I don't think I've heard this one before. Like someone trying to legitimately use like this is this and this is that. And when they did opening statements and we got the real tea of what went down, I was like, what? And we're sitting here in trial? No. Also, real quick before you finish, Susan turned down. She did not want to hear about a plea deal. She turned these down. We're talking Sarah Boone, that whole thing up. And her attorney even had to say that when they closed. Okay, hold on. Also, it's Melissa, but with a T. Talissa. Okay, cool. Thank you. She turned down these things and stuff like that. So I was like, really? Okay. Can you imagine what she was like to work with as a client from the attorney perspective? You already know it's horrible. You already know.
Probably like Adana, or not quite as bad as Sarah, but definitely Adana.
Yeah, we're gonna have a spectrum of people to compare. Like Sarah's way over here, Donna's maybe over here, and then we'll get somebody who just please out.
And I think part of Sarah's drama was she didn't want to go to court because she didn't want to be convicted, and then Brian because like once she's convicted, alimony stops for child support stops for real. So I think she was trying to prolong all of that.
All that honey bun money. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you. We'll be collabing again soon and coming and hanging out. I do appreciate it. I do appreciate everyone here, and that's it. Y'all have a good evening. We'll close out with Slow Morrison's Ode to the Sofa, and then we will see y'all when we see y'all. Bye.
The pillows are fluff thanks to Miss Emily. The couch is wide enough, join the family. It's all love while we laugh at first criminalities. Hey, 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 welcome to the Sofa Squad. Sipping from the cup at hey, hey, hey. Come laugh with the Sofa Squad. Can't roll my damn eyes hard enough. Oh, please, the puppies need me. Oh, please. My body is rejecting none None of that fancy credential stuff. I'm just here for the cringe binge. Hey, 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 welcome to the Sofa Squad. Sip it from the cup and hey, 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 come laugh with the Sofa Squad. Can't roll my damn eyes hard enough. Oh please, the puppies need me. Oh please, my body is rejecting none of that fancy credentialed stuff. I'm just here for the cringe binge. Hey, 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 welcome to the Sofa Squad. Sip it from the cup that hey, 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 come laugh with the Sofa Squad. Can't roll my damn eyes hard enough.